We'll call the meeting to order, and if you would, please, Claire, would you take the roll call?
Yes. Member Church is absent. Member McGuire?
Here.
Member Minor is here remotely. Member Nickel?
Here.
Member Tanner?
Here.
And Chair Bergman.
Here.
All right, so we have a quorum of the HPC physically present at our meeting. In regards to Member Minor, a notice was received by a member of the HPC in accordance with village policy, and Member Minor will be deemed authorized to attend the meeting electronically unless a motion objecting to the member's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and approved by 2/3 of the members of the HPC physically present at the meeting.
Okay, so do we have a motion to throw her out?
No.
I'm being fanciful. I apologize for being a smart aleck. So, not hearing any motion, I think we can move forward. Let's take a look at the January 8th minutes. And I hope everybody's had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Any changes, any thoughts?
No?
No.
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Hearing no objections, we will move on to the next item. Item 3, we always stop at this point in the course of a meeting and ask if there's any non-agenda items or visitors. You are on the agenda this evening, I assume, Mr. Schnell, so do we have anybody else connected electronically?
We do not.
So we don't have any visitors, so we can move off of that. So then that brings us to the business of tonight's meeting, the house at 665 Pine Court. And so I would ask, Mr. Schnell, could you step up to the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what you do and about the property and your thoughts for the property?
What can I tell you about myself, what I do?
Yes, please do.
So I currently live in Libertyville. My wife and I with 4 young kids. Our oldest just turned 8. Our youngest is about to turn 3. So 3 daughters, and got the boy on our last child. But we are fully complete. I do commercial real estate acquisitions primarily in the city of Chicago. We actually own a apartment building in unincorporated Lake Bluff on the west side of 41. But we have been looking to move to Lake Bluff for some time. My wife grew up in Vernon Hills. We've lived in Libertyville for the last 8 years, built our house there, and found this opportunity close to the elementary school and fit what we were looking to do. So that's what brings us here.
Okay. Can you tell us a little the history of the house?
So we were working with a realtor, Annie
Royster?
Reister. And we had been looking at a number of homes. My wife, as today's real estate market has unfolded, she's been writing letters to people. She's been trying to find something in Lake Bluff, either existing or something that we could possibly build a new house on for, I don't know, probably the last 9 months. And this opportunity came up, and after some time, negotiations, we came to an agreement with the seller. It seemed like most of the buyers that were looking at this were looking at it as a potential tear down. The home is not in very good shape. There's some structural issues, and in order for someone to occupy it, it would need a very substantial amount of work. And our intention with the house would be to tear the existing house down. We intend to subdivide the lot into 2 separate lots. We would take the we would plan to build our own home on the north lot, and either sell or potentially build a second home on the south lot and eventually sell that. But we haven't come to any conclusion on where we would stand on that. But we're working with a local architect, Tom Dobbins, and he's been very helpful. And he personally, I think, was looking at the lot with some clients and has helped us with the process here. So
I expected to see him here tonight, so.
yeah, I've been texting with him today. I know I think he was on a little bit of a spring break up until last Sunday or Monday. So I'm sure he's playing catch up a little bit.
Okay. I looked at the online photographs of the house, the Zillow listing.
Yep.
And I can't see anything that's technically wrong with the house. What kind of structural issues are wrong with the house?
So there's a significant amount of water that's been getting into the house. So I mean, there's mold in here. There's water damage that has caused some issues with floor joists and things that would need to be addressed to make it habitable.
Where's the water leaking in from?
The roof.
Okay. Did I see in the application that the house has been vacant for a couple of years?
I don't know how long it's been vacant, but it's certainly been some time. The kitchen has been, there's a variety of areas of the house where the walls have been stripped. Again, there's a pretty substantial amount of mold damage in the house. But yeah, I mean, the kitchen, there's no usable, there's no appliances in there. They've ripped out the sink. I don't know if there was an intent at some point to renovate it or do something to sell the house, but yeah, it appears to be vacant for several years.
Several years, okay. And you know how, has it been on the market for the same amount of time it's been vacant?
No, I want to say it's been on the market for on and off, maybe 6 to 9 months.
Yeah, I think I saw 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm just wondering about the history of the house. Normally, I live in a ranch that's not much smaller than this. This house has a basement, which is a huge plus for these ranches. 1953 was the golden year for building ranches in Lake Bluff. There must have been two carpenter crews on every single block in Lake Bluff at that time.
52, 53.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased to see that this house has a basement. I'm getting, at least every other week, I'm getting a solicitation for my house. Just people sticking notes in the door, sending me letters and whatnot. So I'm surprised that this house was on the market for that long. So
I agree with you. It wasn't something that we initially were looking at. I think it was more my wife was, she may have been one of those people that dropped a note in your door.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It may have just been too much work for someone who was looking to occupy the house. But yeah, I don't know what.
There's a ranch just up the street from me that the children bought the house to put their parents in. Their parents are of that age, and one of the first things they did was they built a wheelchair ramp up to the front door, and they're happy as can be. And so that's why these houses, I'm surprised that the house was on the market for 6 months or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, I know even Tom, he was somewhat surprised too. I just think there's so much work that would need to be done to the house to make it habitable that, maybe there was just, I don't know, you'd be into it for too much that, it'd be difficult to sell at some point down the road.
I'm asking Paul, but also yourself, is this a double lot?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that part of
It's
the?
more than a double lot.
So that's gonna bring up,
4 lots, right?
No, it's
Two lots,
150 by
145 or something?
Yeah,
I was
right.
looking.
I think 145, you're right.
So would that have made it more difficult for somebody to buy it unless they're gonna do what you're suggesting?
yeah, we're gonna get to that discussion in a second here.
Okay.
I made some notes on that.
I think isn't a standard lot 6,250, and you're
That's why I
going to
kinda
divide
asked
it in
Paul, I
half
forgot
and end up with
We
12,000?
talked about this.
12,000 and, yeah, the 90,
I think-
9,500.
Yeah.
So this lot is 9,500.
In this location, based on my research, most of the lots are somewhere in between. So it's either a 9,500 or 12,000-ish.
Sure, they have bigger lots. There are bigger lots in the terraces than,
Yeah, but in this neighborhood, 4,000 to 4,500 square feet will get you a nice 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house.
4,500 square feet
You could-
for the lot?
Yeah, oh, for the, I've got my arithmetic turned around here. What's the square footage of the lot?
Well, it's gotta be 21,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
750.
So the minimum lot size in this area is 9,500.
Okay,
Yep,
okay.
Yeah, and you have 2 of those.
yep.
So this house suffers the same fate that so many of the houses in that sweet spot of 53 to 55 that we're talking about. By the way, I live over on Woodland, over this way, just a couple blocks. All of the houses, when I bought into my neighborhood, it was full of one-story ranches on 100-foot wide lots. And over time, 17 of them have disappeared on Woodland and on some of the side streets. So my neighborhood has changed completely since I bought into my property. It's a standard operating procedure to buy this lot, snip it in half, tear the house down, snip the lot in half, and put up 2 houses. The problem with that is that you more than double the volume, the building volume in the neighborhood. And so one of the reasons why I'm sitting on this board today is that I got tired of watching this happen in my own neighborhood. So that's my little sermon on the mount here.
Yep.
So this takes us back to opening this up. Does anybody else have any questions, thoughts?
There's two two-story houses to the south of you, I think, right?
Not to the south. There's 2 single, there's
Have
one
that
split
back.
level, and then I
Oh,
think
it's a
there's
split
a single story on the
Are
corner.
they, you think they were on, they're newer houses, right?
No,
No, they're about the same age?
yeah. There's,
I
to
I
the
should
north
look.
of us, there's 3 2-story houses.
Okay, are they on normal 9,500
Yeah.
square foot
It's
lot?
somewhere in between that 9,500 and 12,000.
Okay,
There's very few of this size lot that exists today. And the house directly across the street, I think it was actually split into 2 connected ranch homes. My guess is it was probably very similar to this, and they split it at some point. But 2 ranch homes that are connected in the center that,
I asked Clara today if she could help find several years ago, village staff, somebody, Glenn or somebody did a survey in town of how many of these houses still exist in Lake Bluff. It's my recollection that there's about 8 or 10 of these houses that are still left in town.
really?
Yeah. Primarily in the North Terrace. And so if you go by and carefully look, you have to sort of look where the bush lines are and whatnot to get a sense of that. But there were a few of these left. And I think your street, Pine Court, may be one of the slower streets to develop
Yeah.
in this way.
yeah, I know the corner, I think, was recently developed, and then one street over, there's a home that was just finished on the corner.
Okay, and so you have a picture of a replacement house. Is this just simply a placeholder, or are you thinking about this house?
Yes, so it will be similar in style. These were conceptual drawings that our architect, Tom, had done. I think he was working with a client who was talking about doing something similar, but not having someone, it wasn't someone who was gonna be moving in. It was someone who wanted to build 2 homes.
Okay.
Sell them both. But we've been working with Tom, and they'll be similar in style, unique, but similar in style to those homes.
So these are designed by Tom?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, other thoughts?
Do you think there's any chance that you might, like, build this home and get a good offer on it and not move there?
No, we're moving in. Yeah, I mean, we've been looking for a home here for some time, and have looked at a number of options, and my father-in-law happens to be a general contractor. We built the home we're in now. And yeah, we intend to move in. I mean, the second home, we've actually had friends that have expressed interest in potentially being a part of building their own house there. But we haven't really decided on what we'll do with that. It might be a yard for our kids for a couple years, and then as they get a little bit older, maybe explore the idea of selling, but
How many kids do you have in grade school?
4.
4, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll say one's preschool. I'll have 3 in K through 5
K through 5.
next year.
Okay, so K through 5 means that they walk to school from here. When you build this house, they walk to school.
Mhm.
Okay, and then by the time they turn 6 and get into 6th grade, then they're still close enough to the junior high that they can ride their bikes to school, right?
Ideally.
Isn't that the plan?
My kids are 100 yards from their school in Libertyville right now, so we're trying to maintain
Okay.
some close distance.
Was that ever figured into any of your equations?
Oh, yeah, we're right by our elementary school as
Yeah,
well, so.
it always factors
Great.
in. Yeah.
Yeah,
This looks like an unusual opportunity, first of all, to see a house built in that time frame on 2 lots has to be pretty unusual. But it really looks to me like a great opportunity from the standpoint of it looks like the house really would need an awful lot of work. And it would still, if in fact it was fixed up, it would still occupy 2 lots,
Yep.
which, is probably part of the reason that, it hasn't moved. And so that dividing it into the 2 lots again and building a modern house on one or both of the lots seems like a pretty straightforward thing to do to me.
How big's the house? I didn't see that. The square footage on this house?
This current one?
Current, what's it, like
think it's about-
1,800 or something?
No, it's probably close to 1,600.
Okay.
yeah.
And 3 bedrooms?
3 bedrooms, yep.
A classic.
Yeah. Do you know where the placement of your prospective home will be as far as the siting of it and how it will interact with the trees?
Yeah, so our home will be on, it's hard to tell, because like, this is, I don't know, probably 2/3 to, the front door is probably like 2/3 to the south of the lot. We'll be on the north side, so even when you look at the lot, like, it goes so much further than even what the house occupies, even though the house is very wide. So I honestly, I think our house is probably probably north of that tree. So we would be on the north side of the lot.
House.
I'm turning on the street view just so you can see.
So it goes,
There you go.
if you can see the fence line on the north home, kind of in the back left corner. The lot actually goes pretty much to that corner.
It's hard to see with the,
It's almost like
Piece
the side of that, I don't know, probably,
Yeah, you can't see around the shrubbery.
yeah, that's the,
You can sort of see that fence line though.
yeah, it's
yeah,
around.
where
right
that
here.
fence line is right there, right?
Right, yeah.
It's probably, a couple feet off that fence line is where the lot line is. So we would be on the north side of the lot. So yeah, I think honestly that tree is probably a pretty good barometer as to where the lot line might end for the lot that we would be potentially building on.
Okay. All right, thoughts? Any other? Okay.
And I assume is there any chance that you would keep the footprint of the foundation and build something similar? And the only reason I bring this up is I agree with Paul that, 35 years ago, whatever it was, there were a lot of these homes with these huge lots, and they're cherished because there are so few. And at some point, you may think back and miss that the land is gone because there's a big house next door that your neighbor and you can reach out and touch. So I just question, is there any chance that you would consider the value of the green space along with the house and consider keeping it intact?
It would not work for
Your map.
what I would do and my family. And even foundation-wise, it's such a long and narrow house that with a second floor would be challenging to reuse the existing foundation.
Margaret, were you talking about sitting right on the existing foundation or just putting the house that they want to build in the middle?
Either way, I was just trying to get them to think about, like, to tear it down and then rebuild versus renovate. The math probably doesn't work without selling the other lot, but I just wanted him to consider it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say keeping the green space, I just don't.
There will come a time when that green space will be very valuable.
No, I absolutely agree. The scale of the neighborhood today, like, if we were to come in here and say we want to build a 6,000 square foot home on a double lot, it wouldn't, that doesn't.
You don't have to build a 6,000 square foot on a double lot, though.
No, I know, I get it. All I'm saying is someone theoretically could come in here and do that, and that's not what we intend to do. I think it's just we want to keep with kind of what the scale of the neighborhood is, and the lot sizes around there are in that, 9,500 to call it 13,000 square foot lot size, and like to the north, there's two homes that, are very comparable in lot size and scale to what we would intend to do.
Can you
Yeah.
push it down this way?
Yeah, to the north.
I was confused, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's two houses, these are the two I was looking at.
Yeah.
So, this one here, and then there's another
Yeah,
one in the
I
corner
had my
there.
directions wrong, but
Yep.
I remember looking at these, okay.
And that's a corner lot, so that
Was
looks
big.
much different because there's space and streets.
Yep.
Yeah. That other house looked pretty big, though.
So the problem that we face is when you cut this lot in half, you can then build two 4,400 square foot houses. And the houses are exactly 10 feet apart. It's a 5-foot setback on one side and a 5-foot setback on the other side. And,
So with us, if we were to do the 12,000 square foot lot, we would need, I believe it's an 8.5-foot setback on our lot. So not, I don't want to get into too detail, but there's a little bit more space there.
okay.
I know that you said it's just the picture and it's not anything that's it's solid, but it's only 3,170 in square feet, the house.
There's,
Or is it gonna be
I think
bigger?
there's two of them.
Oh, okay, I didn't
If
see
they,
that. No, you're right. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't see the-
3,375.
I didn't see
Okay.
yeah, so
So you're looking at the larger
You're not sure yet.
31?
we are currently going through drawings with Tom.
Okay.
So I would say livable square footage, excluding the garage, we're probably in that 3,500 square foot range.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we don't seem to have our guidelines this evening. Excuse me.
They're up there.
Are they in here? This is here.
Yeah, here they are.
So if you can see, it's almost that, what I was saying, across the street, you can see where they split the lot line, and it looks like, it was probably a very similar home that they split in half, and there's two separate parcels there now, but connected in the middle.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Well, this whole neighborhood,
One home, correct?
Yeah.
Across the street, it's one home?
Two separate homes.
That map, this is the Lake County map, and sometimes it takes a little while to get updated.
Got it.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
all right, so, this neighborhood was, any of these lots that are left there, any of these half-acre lots that are left there are gonna disappear. And it's gonna be precisely what you're gonna do, is put up the two houses. We've had this in front of us a couple times now, so, okay. So, we ask a couple of fundamental questions. Is this a historic home? We haven't found any indication that it's a historic home. We haven't found any evidence of distinguished social history here. We don't have a professor or somebody who wrote books or anything like that. There's an awful lot of people in Lake Bluff that have, so there's a lot of houses that are like that. So it's difficult for us to think in terms of the landmark ability of this house. Do we think that we can or should landmark the house? And I don't think there's much of a basis for that, but I would ask if anybody has any thoughts in that regard. So,
I don't think it would probably meet all, very many
No.
marking criteria.
I don't think we can meet the standards for landmarking the house. So then that puts us to the question of what would we like to do? Where do we think we should go with this? Do we want to take some time and take another 30 days and investigate the history of this house some more? That's one of our options. Or do we want to terminate the review and allow Mr. Schnell to move on with his project? And so what are your thoughts? So, Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's a non-contributing, I guess that's how, that's the way it's laid out. We're struggling with getting rid of, a lot of houses. But yet it seems that it's happened here before, and I think you're right, at some point, they're gonna all be gone. So maybe I'll ask you, Paul, what would have been the argument on a couple that did same kind of stuff, were somewhat non-contributing, and then this was the best option?
Well, if this was in a historic district, we'd be looking at preserving the visual character of of the entire neighborhood.
Streetscape, sure.
So what's the streetscape look like? What happens when you visually read it left or right? We don't have that situation here, so we have to just simply look at the fact that it's older than 50 years, and can we landmark this particular house? And I'm not sure that we can, so
Okay.
that puts us sort of at that point. So John, Lois?
But we
Margaret?
don't really have a lot of history. The current owner doesn't really know the backstory of the house, and we don't either. Because I will say I did not look it up before joining the meeting today. But I don't know if others did.
I spent some time at the Lake Bluff History Museum website, and so sometimes if you fool around with that a bit, you can sometimes find avenues into their database that don't necessarily pop up at the first or second query. And I used the name, I think the name was Mazer, that was listed in the records, and I couldn't find any information about the house. So I couldn't find any social history on the
Yep.
house.
Yep, that's what I was asking. Thank you.
So,
Yeah, I did not, I was not able to research it before I came, and there may not be any significant social history connected to the home. So would not be a basis for landmarking. I just have to say, agreeing with you, I think it's unfortunate to lose these homes. I recognize that it probably structurally may not be in really good shape and could be water damage and some mold. We have some of those homes that are really fixed up and just classic and charming and really maintain the character of the Lake Bluff, why people continue to live here and want to move here.
let me ask you, I'm going to put my insurance hat on, having been an insurance executive. What color is the mold that you found in the house?
Oh, I'm in real estate, so I don't know. Even a licensed inspector can't really tell you if it's mold or not, if it's black or green or, I don't know exactly what color it is.
If it's-
It
if it-
looks like mold.
If it's black, it's stocky botrytis.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah,
Not good.
I don't know exactly what color it is, but
Okay.
it
All
looks and smells like mold. I can tell you that. When you walk in the door, you can tell.
right. Okay. Okay, so what do we want to do with the house here? We have our usual green, yellow, and red options here. And so if we want to continue it and have further discussions, we could see if we could ask for a 30-day extension and see if there's more information we want to learn about the property. Or we could simply allow we could continue the matter and simply allow it to lapse. That's the yellow option. Or the green option is to move to terminate the demolition review of the single-family residence in that it doesn't meet criteria for designation. So, someone give me your thoughts on what they'd like to do with it, and maybe match that with a motion.
First, I feel as though, we should terminate it and allow this gentleman to go ahead and build his house in this nice neighborhood. And I know that there's, certainly a certain character, if you will, with these houses in the neighborhood. However, this is an unusual situation from the standpoint of a house that's been allowed to deteriorate, but it's on a double lot. Which is also unusual too. So I think it's an unusual opportunity, so.
Okay? So, I think we have a motion to terminate. Anybody want, Margaret, I'm sorry?
I'll second that.
We will second that. So we have a motion and a second. Shall we have a roll call?
Okay. Member McGuire?
Aye.
Member Minor?
Aye.
Member Nickel?
Aye.
Member Tanner?
Aye.
And Chair Bergman?
Aye.
All right, motion
Okay.
passes.
You have your demolition.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Put Mr.
Appreciate
Dobbins,
it.
put Mr. Dobbins to work. Okay.
We have, believe me, my wife has gone through a number of iterations of homes, so he's
Well,
working hard.
If you want iterations of homes, go buy my book on Lake Forest architecture. So,
Tell me where it's at,
the Lake Forest Bookstore.
all righty?
And it's still available at Amazon. So,
All right.
sorry about for the self.
It's a great place to grow up, so I'm excited for your children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
we're also excited. We've met a number of families, and we went to Miami of Ohio, and Tom's got kids that have gone there, and kids, and now in-laws that have went there, and we've heard very good things, so we're excited about being
Good.
part of the community.
All right, well, welcome
Yeah,
aboard.
no, looks like you've done a lot of research and you've got a lot of background, so,
We
that
have.
pays off.
We certainly have.
Okay.
Okay,
Enjoy.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much.
good. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the consideration. We appreciate it.
Okay. Well, good. All right.
All righty.
Let's see.
You
So-
don't have to hang around
Yeah,
if you
so
don't want to.
You
You're
get to
finished,
go.
so
Okay.
we're done.
You're done with us.
This is,
Go celebrate.
Actually, get in touch with Clara in the next few days, and she'll give you the marching orders on what happens next and whatnot, but you'll be moving ahead with your project.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. So then we get to item 5 on the agenda, a commissioner's report. I don't have much of a report as being a commissioner. I'm actually up to my eyebrows in writing my master's thesis, and hopefully that will be done in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Exciting.
I will be a bona fide master's of preservation, Master of Preservation Sciences.
Yes, yeah,
And
right
then,
there.
hopefully by then, my back surgery will have calmed down and the vertebrae won't be barking at me as much. So,
You've had it or you're going to have it?
I have March 15th.
Oh, you did?
So, yeah.
My gosh.
Would you
Wow.
do fuse some?
They went in there with a screwdriver and they chipped all of the chunky little bits out and stuff. It's actually, it's called a laminectomy is the
Yeah,
process.
okay, I've heard of that.
And so they opened up the space where the nerves fit through and whatnot. So, so that's coming together. Is there any other comments from any of the other commissioners? Anybody else has any?
Other than we're still looking for another member, and
Yeah.
if anybody has any ideas. You know, I was thinking, Toby Davis and his wife,
Yes.
remember? Could we maybe approach one of them? I know she's got little kids, but they seem super interested in.
We might think about that. Okay, good. All right. Staff report.
Yeah, unfortunately, for the people that said they were interested in the camp training, I know that has been pushed. We're waiting for more information on that, so, but hopefully that will be coming back soon. In other news, we are still in the process of updating our comprehensive land use plan. Next Wednesday, a week from today, we're having a continued public hearing at the PCZBA meeting. And so if anyone has any thoughts on that, you're welcome to attend, or you're welcome to submit comments to staff or online. There's different ways to do it.
I didn't hear what the topic was.
The comprehensive land use plan update,
Yep.
that's been going on for a little while now. We're kind of getting into the home stretch by holding our public hearings for the final drafts of it.
Okay. Well, good, okay. Well, I think that's,
I actually have a question for Claire. Two of the homes that we discussed here and that were not terminated, but the building on North, wasn't that postponed to the next meeting or 2 meetings?
You mean the property near the?
The one
wall?
that Village bought.
Yeah.
So,
Didn't we kind of decide that we're going to check with if there was any kind of agencies that might?
yeah.
Wasn't Drew
So-
going to come back to us, or?
Yeah, I guess my question is, what happens if we hear a request for demolition, and then the commission decides that we want another month to have them go back and study it, and I think that property, and then there was another one. Maybe there wasn't. So what happens if we ask them to come back in the next month, and
Yeah,
Yes.
so it times out, basically. In that case, I think that there was a gap between meetings due to quorum, so,
okay.
but
Did they didn't demolition it though, did they?
No.
no, they didn't,
Not yet.
not yet, yeah.
Yeah, I just was wondering about the procedure, if it did just time out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other things?
I have a question as it relates to a double lot like this and dividing it up. They have to still petition the village, don't they, to do that division?
So there is an exception for when it's a residential lot like this and it's only being divided into 2 lots. I believe the process is that it doesn't have to go to the PCZBA. It can go direct to the village board for decision. But it is an expedited process when it's a residential lot, when they're only subdividing it for one other lot.
Then they'll have to go to PCZBA for the design of the new houses.
No, only if they need some sort of variation would they have to go to PCZBA.
And they don't have to go to ABR either, it's just,
Right.
Correct.
they just design a house and
Yeah.
go with it.
If-
Correct.
If they show up with these 2 houses that are on the packet, there's nothing that will stop all of that. It will just sail right on through. So that would be the process.
Right.
So, okay,
They are lovely houses.
so, all right, well, I think we're kind of done for the evening here, so, 42 minutes. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn,
I
So
moved
moved.
to-
and we had a second? Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
All right.
Bye, you guys.
Bye,
Margaret, you went big.
See ya.
Sorry about that.
See ya.
Okay.